Hi, I'm Tash and today I'm here with part 2 of the Raise Room Geothrow video series. Check out my previous posts for colour inspiration, part 1 getting started, and you can head to the Raise Room website or TikTok shop for the pattern. So in my last video I showed you how to get started, increase and change colour. So you may have grown it to this point where we've started about here and we've grown it all the way up to make half of block 1. Today we're going to look at decreasing and changing colour on the decrease. So up until now when we got to this point we would have chained 6 to create an extra square and increase the block. But this time instead we want to come back this way so that we create a corner and start to square off the block. So to do that we are going to start with a chain of 3. Not 6 like when we were increasing, because now we are decreasing, we're just creating a chain of 3. Then I'm going to turn my work to come back in the other direction. You can chain then turn or turn then chain, it's up to you. And we're just bringing the chain across here to corner it off. So to bring that chain of 3 across like that, we are just going to slip stitch in here, in between the treble and the chain of 3. And then as you can see, that gives it a nice corner. Then we're going to chain 3. Then we're going to work our 3 trebles into that same space that we did our slip stitch into. So in the space between the chain of 3 and the treble. And then as you can see, this really helps to bring the block into a square shape as we continue in this direction. And then we're just going to work our way up the steps with our little squares as we have been doing the rest of the pattern. So you're just going to keep crocheting here as you have before. So chain 3, 3 trebles, then slip stitch into the corner of the next one. So that's in between the chain 3 and the treble. So you've got 3 chains again now, and you can see that this just needs filling in with 3 trebles, and then you can just continue on up the steps. So now you're just going to carry on along this row until you get to the other end, where we're going to do another decrease at this end. So I'm just about making it to the other end now. As you can see, I've just got one last block to fill in here before we start coming back the other direction. So I'll just do my slip stitch in there, chain of 3, and then 3 trebles. And then as you can see, we want to stop there and not go up any higher because we want to bring it back in the other direction to square off this block. So to do that, we want to slip stitch into the top of here. So that's in between the treble and the chain of 3. Then we're going to do our chain of 3. And we're going back in the other direction. And we're going to lay that chain of 3 across the top of that cluster of trebles. So we're just going to turn it, pop your hook in between that treble and the chain of 3 for a slip stitch. Then another chain of 3. And then as you can see, that helps to square off that corner nicely. And we've got this little space here where we can fill in with 3 trebles. And then carry on up the steps. And you're just going to continue like this until you've got your 5 rows of that colour stripe. And next I'm going to show you how to change colour on a decrease. So as we work our way down the second half of block 1 with our decrease rows, you're going to have a series of colour changes, and the pattern is going to let you know when and where to change colour. So I'm now coming up to that point where it's time to change colour. I've got 5 rows of colour A and it's time to switch to colour B. To do that, when we get to this point, we're going to pop our hook into here for a slip stitch. We're going to pull that through. And now we're at the point where we want a chain of 3. And then we're going to want to turn our work so that we lay that chain of 3 across the top of that cluster and slip stitch into here. And normally we would pull that through and carry on up. But on a row when we want to change colour, this is when we would pick up the new colour and pull that through instead of the old colour. So you're just going to pop your hook in there and then tuck your other colour out of the way, bring in the new colour, and then you're just going to hold a tail end just behind and just hook that new colour through. So you're doing your slip stitch with the new colour essentially. Then from there, you can do a chain of 3, and then fill in that space with 3 trebles. And then you're just going to carry on with your decreasing rows until your block 1 becomes 1 complete whole square. The pattern will direct you on when to change colour and where, how many rows to work. And in my next video, I'm going to be showing you how to start block 2 at the same time as joining it to block 1 as you work it. So if you haven't already, hit follow now to make sure you don't miss that one. Save this video for whenever you need it, and I'll see you next time. Happy crocheting, and make sure you let me know in the comments how your geothrow's coming along.